when I got to where the forecastle hatch was, the escape hatch, there was a queue of people all stood there. But everyone stood there very, very calmly and just waited their turn, took their gear off and just shouted down the line, take your life jackets off, take your stuff off, take off, and everybody just went out. An escape hatch isn't much wider than your average man, and the way you go out, one arm first and the other like that, and everybody just went out. There was no panic, no pushing, no shoving. Let me out first. Everybody just stood and waited until. Everybody was getting out as quickly as they could, but there was no panic. When I emerged out onto the forecastle, just that first breath of air, that's probably the sweetest breath of air I've ever taken, I think, and I can still taste it. And there was huge amounts of smoke pouring out the starboard side. And one of the guys in the mess said, have you seen the hole in the starboard side? So I ran down the forecastle and looked over, and all the metal was bent out. It was a huge hole with smoke billowing out of there and out of the funnels and the exhaust, and everywhere that smoke could come out of was coming out of. But people, they were rolling out hoses and turning on the hydrants to get the water, but the fire main had been punctured by the missile impact, so there was no water. Now the training is that you use hoses to breach where the breach is, use hoses to bridge that. But no training had ever been done for a missile impact like that, and it wasn't possible to do it, so we had no fire main. I don't think I ever saw any actual panic, but I also wasn't expecting any either. As people came out, they were trying to get firefighting equipment, and one of the officers said to me, stand up on the breakwater and keep a lookout for anything coming. So I stood up on the breakwater and just kept a lookout. And I saw 2 aircraft on the horizon, and I shouted up to the gunnery direction platform, alarm aircraft, which was a bit of a waste of time because we had no weapons at all apart from the 20mm Oerlikon, which is all they could have used. As it was 2 Sea Harriers coming to have a look. And the Sea Harriers came over so low, I could actually see the pilots turn their faces and look at us and make out the detail as well. Now, all of the ship's side had started to steam because of the heat inside the missiles, with the missile fire. And on the starboard, on the port side, there's an ammunition locker which somebody had opened, and they were throwing ammunition over the side to stop it exploding. And from somewhere, they'd got a load of plastic buckets and I think heaving lines out of the rope store, and they were throwing the buckets over the side and just throwing the water onto the ship's screen, and it was just steaming off and drying straight away because of the fire inside the superstructure. At some point, again, I saw the masts of another Type 42 destroyer just over the horizon, and then I saw another ship coming towards us, which was the Type 21 HMS Arrow, and it was coming from the same direction as the Type 42. So I thought, well, hopefully that's one of ours and not one of theirs coming to finish us off. The intent at the time was to save the ship, and the senior rates were trying to organise people into firefighting parties, but we just didn't have enough equipment. So Petty Officer Briggs had been going back inside the ship to the firefighting equipment locker to pull out more firefighting equipment, hoses, nozzles, whatever he could. And he went back inside one too many times, and he was overcome by smoke. And he was extracted, I don't know by who. And I saw the doc, Petty Officer Meager, giving him CPR and mouth to mouth on the forecastle. And eventually, after a while, he gave up. And Petty Officer Briggs was wrapped in a blanket. and he was the first person I saw dead on the ship.